Take 60,000 tons of steel, 260,000 cubic meters of concrete, 2,000 dedicated Chinese workers, and some of the best design brains in the business. And this is what you get. The Shanghai World Financial Center. Nearly 500 meters tall, and every meter state-of-the-art. Designed to be strong enough to stand up to killer typhoons and powerful earthquakes, and to withstand the ultimate threat by a world-renowned engineer still haunted by his most famous building's horrifying fate.
I don't think I ever got through the experience of 9/11.
When this megastructure's finished, the world will marvel at a skyscraper like no other, a dazzling icon of China's rise to power. China, the world's fastest growing economy. Shanghai, China's biggest city, the financial heart of its economic miracle. Along the Huangpu River, grand old buildings evoke the jazz age of the 1920s, when foreign powers had made Shanghai their Asian financial headquarters. And Shanghai's highest building was just 9 stories tall. That was then. This is now. Meanwhile, workers at the top are building towards 500 meters, entering a realm where only a few of the world's very tallest buildings have dared to soar. Up here, it's not just height they have to contend with. They're in a world with a climate all its own. And they're more often in the clouds than above them. There are days when nature closes in and visibility drops to nearly zero, making work at the top floors too dangerous. When the wind gets too strong, work grinds to a halt. Even the mighty M900D tower cranes can't work in this weather. And even daredevil steelworkers like Zhang Xiaoyang make a hasty retreat back to terra firma.
When you are lifting and handling steel in a high rise, weather matters a lot. If the weather is foggy or windy, it will really affect the installation work. As you can see today, it is very misty, so we are stopping work for the day.
When the weather permits, workers will go back up top and continue building the World Financial Center's crowning touch, which will also keep it safe against the deadliest threat to any building that dares to soar so high. At these altitudes, the #1 enemy is wind. Typhoons slam into Shanghai almost every summer. In 2005 alone, winds from Typhoon Matsa peaked at over 150 kilometers per hour, causing $12 million of damage and killing 3 people. And clusters of skyscrapers can generate their own powerful winds. The taller the building, the greater the danger of wind pushing it over. A sudden event engineers call the overturning moment.
In the design of any tall building, one is essentially creating a beam that's vertically projected from the earth. But the greater force for tall buildings is the actual overturning moment that is generated by the wind, which it tends to want to push the building over.
So how do you keep a 500-meter megastructure standing in a typhoon? You don't fight the wind, you let it through. The financial center's architects crowned its topmost floors with a gigantic circle, 53 meters in diameter. A wind hole that would let winds through, preventing them from pushing over the building. In Chinese mythology, a circle was a symbol of the sun, the moon, and the heavens. The New York architects were proud of the elegant circle inspired by tradition, and were stunned when Chinese authorities objected to it.
It wasn't until we read, I believe, in a Hong Kong paper, when it said a Japanese developer is coming into Shanghai with the flag raised high. And then finally we got it.
What the architects never thought of was that in China, a giant circle atop a Japanese finance building would be a symbol of something very different. Japan's 1937 attack on China, when her armies marched under the imperial banner of the rising sun. For the design team, it was not a good day.
We went to lunch, and we were served a live lobster. Well, for some reason or other, I felt as if that this was enormously symbolic, because I felt, indeed, like I was the lobster.
In New York, it was back to the drawing board, and many sleepless nights for senior designer David Mallet.
I would be lying if I said it wasn't heart-wrenching when something you've been working on for years is suddenly changed overnight.
The team bisected the circular wind hole with an enclosed walkway, offering visitors a chance to see the world from almost 500 meters up. Engineers tested the new design in a wind tunnel. The wind hole passed with flying colors. But its modified design didn't satisfy the critics. The circle would have to go.
We changed it to a form which is more, I think, in line with the shape of the building's geometry at the top. And frankly, I'm very pleased with it, because I believe it relates more strongly to this particular building shape.
And that's what's about to take shape on the 94th floor. A politically neutral wind hole, shaped like a trapezoid, that still offers visitors amazing views. The highest observation deck of any building in the world. To get a view higher than this, you'd have to climb a mountain or get into an aeroplane. But just like a mountaintop or an aeroplane ride, if the wind is strong enough, it can knock you around. In a building this tall, anyone on the topmost floors will definitely know when strong winds blow, or when an earthquake strikes. Winds and earthquakes create an effect called whiplash, which can sway a super tall building from side to side.
This happens at the top of the building because the structure at the top is less stiff. The vibration is more intense. When it happens, it is very obvious. If you are at the top of the building when an earthquake strikes, the vibration at the top is very strong. But there is no threat to the safety of the building. However, the people at the top will feel very uncomfortable.
But people atop the World Financial Center will hardly notice any whiplash. Thanks to two active-tuned mass dampers installed on the 90th floor. These dampers counteract whiplash by pushing 150-ton counterweights in the opposite direction, reducing sway during high winds and earthquakes to just 1 meter. But it's not easy getting weights that heavy up to the 90th floor. Even the mighty M900D cranes have to bring them up in pieces, one at a time, with the skillful crane drivers slotting them into the damper frames. It's a long, laborious task that goes all day and well into the night. The dampers will allow visitors to the top to enjoy the view in all kinds of weather. And what these workers are installing will get them there. One of the most advanced elevator systems in the world. An amazing 91 elevators in all, many of them double-decked, that can whisk the 17,000 office workers and hotel guests anywhere in this mega building in only minutes. One can even lift luxury cars to auto shows on top of the world.
He took one of the double-deck elevators and actually removed the intermediate floor. So you could take a car, turn it vertically within the elevator, and then go up to and have your exhibition.
4 special lifts will run from the bottom to the top, along the building's outside edges, giving visitors the ride and the view of their lives. But these outside lifts will also have a much more serious purpose. Because in the 21st century, designing mega buildings to meet nature's challenges is no longer enough. Like all tall buildings, the Shanghai World Financial Center must now confront a new and horrifying threat. September 11, 2001. In Shanghai, the World Financial Center is a foundation waiting for a building. Across the world in New York, engineers at Leslie E. Robertson and Associates, among them managing partners Sortine C, begin a typical workday in their offices a few blocks from the world's 4th tallest building, the 110-story towers of the World Trade Center.
I was in my office, beautiful day, and an engineer came running to me and said, a plane went into the Trade Center. And I thought it was one of those, news helicopters that fly around here. So anyway, we were here, and we all gathered around the windows in this conference room, looking at the building. And that's when we saw the second plane come by this way. And just went straight into the building. That's when we realized it was not an accident.
One horrifying day transformed the world's tallest skyscrapers from icons of power into potential death traps. When work resumed on the Shanghai World Financial Center a year and a half later, the design teams had more on their minds than typhoons and earthquakes. The horror of September 11 still hung over the world. One man who felt that horror keenly was structural engineer Leslie Robertson, who had also designed the World Trade Center.
I got back to New York and went to the site, and I guess I wasn't prepared for that. It took a while before I could even actually look at it. To this moment, I still think of all those people that I met, and they were looking for something that I just don't have. I think largely they wanted me to say that their husband or their brother or their father died like that. And I don't know. I don't think I ever got through the experience of 9/11. I mean, it's a problem with me today.
Robertson redesigned the financial center using some of the same innovative ideas he used to build the World Trade Center, especially the outrigger trusses and modular design that helped stabilize his lighter, taller building design while giving it extra strength. But the new design also made the World Financial Center a skyscraper for a post-9/11 world.
We feel very confident that the project would sustain the impact of the aircraft that are flying right now.
What if the unthinkable happened and a fuel-laden jetliner smashed at top speed into the Shanghai World Financial Center? The impact area would be devastated, and the burning jet fuel would ignite an inferno. But the people inside the building would have options those inside the World Trade Center didn't have.
I think in 9/11, the most frightening image for people is that the occupants above the fire really had no choice. They would either perish in the fire or they would choose to leap off. So I think that really affected us in a profound way.
In the financial center, people above the impact zone can escape via secure stairway systems in the central core of the building. But just in case, the architects gave them another way out.
We took the observation elevators, which are running up the corners of the building, and actually allow those to enter the office building at every 12 floors. So in a way, it becomes a sort of a last resort lifeboat. So in case the core itself is disabled, a lot of people's instinct is just to try to go down. But what you potentially could do is go up and then go to the corners of the building. And the elevators are really protected by the corner mega columns, and then go down.
If they still can't get out, they have yet another way to survive. This is floor 78, one of the specially designed refuge floors built every 12 levels. Deputy Manager Bernie Wren inspects its construction, keenly aware of the role this room might play in any emergency.
These rooms are designed to let people take refuge in if there is ever a fire or an accident. The whole building is enclosed by glazing except for the refuge floors. On these floors, there will be normal windows instead of glazing so that people can get fresh air while they wait to be rescued.
And that's not all. These refuge floors are wrapped in specially thickened, fireproofed steel. People escaping a fire or a terrorist attack can make their way to one of these floors, knowing they have a greater chance of survival. And the World Financial Center's modular design could also save lives. If any part of the building collapses, the steel and trusses linking the modules should carry the load and keep the building upright.
So I think maybe it could be said that the Shanghai World Financial Center is perhaps the safest tall building on the planet.
When it's finished, the Shanghai World Financial Center will be the tallest building in mainland China, but not in the world. Even at 492 meters, its top floor will be 16 meters shorter than Taipei 101's spire. But that doesn't bother Bernie Wren.
The other building is higher only because of the antenna on top. But this building will allow people to walk at a height of 492 meters, which is much higher than the people can walk in the other building. For me, 492 meters is a record.
Even before it's finished, the Shanghai World Financial Center is already a soaring tribute to Shanghai and a signal to the world that China is the rising power of the third millennium. But for the teams of dedicated, courageous people who have worked so hard and risked so much, this megastructure will always be more than record-breaking kilometers of concrete, glass, and steel.
The Shanghai World Financial Center will be an icon. We hope that it will represent Shanghai.
I'm happy. It was a relatively dangerous project to do, but it was quite well paid. I heard the Shanghai municipal government is going to build a 120-story building. I hope next time I can do my part on that one.
You look at it and you say, wow, right? It hits you right away. So much more so than your usual high-rise building. I think it's an exceptional building.
Soaring tall, in spite of financial disaster. Built to survive the relentless fury of nature and of man. An icon of beauty, power, genius. The Shanghai World Financial Center renews our faith in humanity's drive to overcome challenges, recover from tragedy, and keep on reaching for the sky.
What can dead